Hello and welcome everyone. It's that time of the year again, and let's start off the summary of what I've painted in 2023. As you can see, the year was quite fruitful. I wouldn't say that it's the best year, definitely not the best year, but it's okay. It was 6mm dominated, and quite frankly, full spectrum dominated. Dominance dominated. Coincidence? I think not. Let's start off from the left, the 6mm section. I've painted an entire enlisted army, 60 points in full spectrum dominance terms. This is the heavy infantry. There are 2 units of your regular infantry, 2 units of scouts, which I painted blue the rims of their bases because they get mixed up very easily with regular infantry for people who don't play 6mm too often. 3 transporters, 2 gunner walkers, 4 tanks. The leftmost one is an energy tank, the rightmost one is a heavy tank, and the 2 in the middle are main battle tanks. In the back, 2 support vehicles. That makes the entirety of my enlisted collection. It's a bit over 60 points, and I still have a few things to paint, but in general, that's the enlisted total. Coming back to their main adversaries this year. Oh, and before we go, I also, while testing out different paint schemes, I also painted a Baneblade tank for my Imperial Guard for Epic Armageddon. I didn't go with that particular camo type. I didn't like it that much, but I painted it when it stayed, and I actually used it in a few games, so that's a plus. Coming back, or rather forward to the tech, we have 2 Socrates rigs with different loadouts. I already had 1 Socrates rig, which I used with different loadouts when I wanted to, but since I already had a lot of parts printed, I decided to make the other 2 loadouts. 4 heavy... Let me get focus on that. Oh, there we go. 4 heavy spider droids, 4 regular spider droids. Sorry for the interruption. I had to switch the units a little bit to make it more consistent. So 4 regular spider droids, a Cyro runner, a Solon tank with the minigun turret, and this was wave number 2. I actually also painted wave number 3, as I like to call it. Wave number 3 was mostly these transports and the gun platform, which I scaled up to either 150 or 200%. In wave number 3, I wanted to add a little bit of green accent, well, a different accent actually, because the yellow that is dominant in the previous units with the attempt of non-metal metal, it's not a great attempt, but I actually like it. It has a nice flow to it. Yeah, it was not enough. I didn't want to paint with the same attempt, with the same scheme, the lifted panels and such, so I decided to add a little bit of green, and I actually like the end result. Yeah, so these are the 3 transports and the gun platform. Actually, wave number 3 was also these 2 guys, but I decided to paint them in the regular manner, just to keep it consistent with wave 1 and 2. And last but not least, well, definitely not last, but not last, definitely not least, 15mm. I actually wanted to test out I believe it's called the Blood Angels Red contrast paint via an airbrush, and well, the results weren't wonderful, and I wanted to test it out on something that I'm not really attached to, so I painted up a single Humvee. Maybe this one was the first one, and I wasn't a super fan of it, but then I decided to grab some FDM printed stencils, some very old stencils, with a geometric camo pattern, and that turned out quite nice. And I followed up with every other 50mm vehicle, not unit, vehicle that I had, and that was pretty good. I used it, but I used it in a convention where I needed them, but they mostly stayed in the box unfinished because of all the lenses and the mirrors. And well, by accident and by being lazy, I wanted to paint the lenses with a contrast paint just to make it quick and go away. But I actually couldn't find the contrast paint in the paint box, so I decided to go with the regular jeweling approach. And boy, do I like this result. I really, really like them. They're super nice. I'm very happy that I followed up the way I did. Yeah, got distracted a little bit. So, summarizing up, I painted one Merkava tank. All of these are 3D prints from, I think, a Rebel Minis Kickstarted a long time ago. One tank with anti-grav version, 2 turret options, the more sleek and the more bulky turret, all magnetized, so switch them up easily and rotate them like I want. A Humvee, I have a second Humvee, just, well, similar to this one, but it still needs the lenses to do, so not finished. A combat flatbed, because I had one lying around and it was pretty easy to fix up. And a single machine gun drone. And almost finishing up, I also painted some terrain. The first part of terrain is visible over there. It's the different barricades for full spectrum dominance games. I was actually worried that they would fall and trip and fall, but they have a nice curvature to them. So, and the additional bits and bobs of battles and such make them actually stand straight pretty easy, and they're quite tipping resistant. So that's a very nice touch, a very good design. They're a bit on the bright side, but they were painted on the quick. I'm not sure if that's something they would say in English. They were painted because I really wanted them, and I really wanted them to be done quickly. So that's that. And that's a view of the entirety. And this is actually not the entirety. And I'll put a picture on the screen now showing the rest of the things that I painted. So there was supposed to be a picture, but there's gonna be few pictures because I actually forgot that I painted more stuff than I did. The first part is what you're seeing on the screen now. It's some simple sci-fi buildings, simple paint job, quick. I needed it for a convention to run the full spectrum dominance games, the crate scenario, let's call it that way. I'm not showing this in the video because I actually sold that piece of terrain because I wanted to do a more detailed one, and I'm missing space to do that. So in order to add a new product, a new terrain piece, few new terrain pieces, I needed to make some room and get rid of the old ones, so they had to go. And also the base plates for them, they had to go. The other thing is a contest piece that I'm very, very happy with, and I actually forgot I finished it this year. I thought it was next year. It's the, not cathedral, it's the mausoleum that you can see on the screen now. I'm really happy with how it was handled, how I made it. It looks way better live in my opinion because I was unable to catch all of the intricacies of dirt in the picture, but yeah, that's also a piece I've done. So that's everything I painted in 2023. Quite a few miniatures, quite a few terrain pieces. I'm really happy with how it ended up. I actually had a major hobby burnout after the convention that I've mentioned because I've painted so much so fast that I really did not want to paint anything for quite a while. I'll definitely try to avoid this in in the future, this year in particular, because I want to go to the same convention again, and probably to one or two more. Yeah, that's been everything. I hope you enjoy this. Please remember that if you want to support me, like, share, and subscribe. Have a good one. Have a good year. Bye.